4chan has a new troll campaign to turn the hashtag into a symbol of a fringe group of people typically associated with World War II Germany, if you know what I mean. YouTube doesn't let me say certain things, so I can't. But here's a story from the Daily Dot, 4chan's new troll campaign. And you have to wonder, why is the media writing about this? Why did so many outlets write about the OK hand gesture? It's really simple. Now, a lot of people say the media is taking the bait from 4chan, that it's a hoax. Sure, that's technically true, but I think the media knows what they're doing, and they do it on purpose, mostly because, one, they need to generate outrage to make money, that we know, but also it benefits them politically. Everybody knows the OK symbol is a hoax. But what the activists and the activists at these news organizations claim is that, well, it is a hoax, but those people still use it, therefore, it isn't a hoax. That's their argument. And they're going to do the same thing with the hashtag symbol. They're going to give it up on purpose to make it seem like the fringe far right is a real threat when they aren't. And I have stories to back it up today. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get started, check out timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There is a monthly donation option, a cryptocurrency option, a physical address, or you can just share this video, like the video, and comment below because the engagement really, really helps. But anyway, let's get back to the story. They say members of the notorious internet forum 4chan have proposed a new troll campaign aimed at converting the hashtag into a fringe symbol. In a post on the poll, politically incorrect message board, an anonymous user calls on his fellow forum frequenters to begin creating propaganda that incorporates the commonly used pound sign. We must start using the pound sign to represent a fringe symbol on memes and social media, the user states. I'm also paraphrasing certain words because, unfortunately, YouTube will derank the video based on the words used in it. I'm sorry, that's just the way the future is now. Yeah, and I'll address this really quick because people have said, Tim, stop, using innuendo for certain phrases. And what people don't seem to realize is that YouTube actually censors outright. Like, they will stop you from being able to see the video. They derank it and downgrade it. So I'll settle with the best I can do to make sure this video is seen by people, right? The far-right campaign, dubbed Bash the Hash, a play on the Antifa term Bash the Fash, aims to remove the ability of sites like Twitter to use the popular symbol. It will be a perfect win-win situation. Either Twitter will have to accept the blatant fringe ideology on its forums, or it will effectively have to find a way to get rid of the site's core mechanics. Bash the Hash will also force corporations to stop putting hashtags on every effing ad ever. Although the idea was met with mixed reviews, a slew of campaign posters and memes began circulating on Twitter. The posts were purported to originate from sources such as Antifa, a far-left collective known for using direct action against far-right groups. But I'll correct that real quick. They use direct physical conflict against people they don't like, not fringe far-right groups. That's incorrect. Now, what we can see here in the Daily Dot story is apparently there are many Twitter accounts claiming to be Antifa, but are actually pushing the propaganda, so you can only assume they're actually trolls. What they're doing is they're showing various reasons why the hashtag is a symbol of a fringe ideology, because when you split the pound sign down the middle horizontally, you get HH. And everyone knows what HH stands for. They also claim there's 8 gaps and 8 protrusions, which stands for 88, which is another, fringe reference to the leader of the World War II Germany. The story goes on to talk about other troll campaigns, and then brings up the OK hand gesture. Why did the media and why did left-wing activists rush to claim the OK hand gesture was actually legitimate? Because it's good news for them. We have a couple stories here. First, from a couple weeks ago, the BBC actually asked, when is the OK gesture not okay? Because they have a photo of Marine Le Pen making the OK hand sign with one of her supporters. They say, France's Marine Le Pen of the far-right national rally is the latest politician to find themselves in hot water for signaling that everything is okay. Why? Everybody knows it's a hoax. The OK sign was originally being used by Trump supporters because Trump makes that hand gesture when he's talking. He still does. So essentially, people started to figure out, hey, let's just claim that it means something else. And the media went with it because the media wants you to believe that there are more fringe far-right than there really are. And don't take my word for it. Let's talk about Vox. On August 10th, 2018, Vox wrote this story. Study, 11 million white Americans think like the alt-right. What does that mean? they think like the alt-right. Well, you can think like a lot of people. I mean, I like dogs. Do they like dogs? Are you going to then claim that we're thinking alike? What Vox is doing here is trying to scare people into believing that the alt-right and these fringe groups are much bigger than they really are. Because in reality, they're not. They aren't. And we have proof. In Dayton, the city spent $650,000 because there was going to be a Klan rally. But guess what? If you watch my second channel, you already know this one, but only 9 people showed up. Between 500 and 600 protesters came to protest them. Why did hundreds of protesters come out to protest against 9 people? Because of the media. Because the media wants you to believe there are more of these people than there really are. They want you to believe that when 4chan makes a hoax, it's legitimate, it's real. They say, well, look, even though it's a hoax, people are doing it, it must be true. And then you get the insanity, the absolute insanity. First, can I just point out, it's extremely insane that a city would spend $650,000 on security for an event where only 9 people showed up. Maybe it would have been 20. But these rallies around the country, they usually only have double-digit numbers, like 10 to 20 people. That's why you don't see me or anyone I work with going to cover these things for the most part. Sometimes we do. Because we know no one shows up. We know the media is pushing this on purpose. In this story from the Chicago Tribune, following discovery of circle game photos, which is the OK hand gesture, a high school is going to pay, Oak Park River Forest High School paid $53,000 to reprint their yearbooks because there were photos of people making the OK hand gesture. This is the absurdity and the insanity that results in a media trying to scare you. And again, there are a couple reasons. First, they need to drum up outrage. I think, the Daily Dot, they've got to fill gaps, they got to fill time, they got to write articles. So they do. So they absolutely look at, what is it like? How many posts were made on 4chan about this? Seriously, 3 or 4. So 3 or 4 people go on 4chan, claim it's happening, and then you get news outlets talking about it. In turn, you get people like me talking about it. Congratulations, it's that easy, it worked. Now the activists are going to point to it and say, there it goes, it's true, it's a fact. Everyone's talking about it. Because they want to. There's a reason for it, outside of generating rage and making money. In Europe, we are seeing right-wing nationalists sweep. Well, the far left wants you to believe that these people are all dangerous fascists. They're all the worst of the worst. They use hyperbole, extreme exaggerations. They talk about the most ridiculous ideas that don't make sense. Okay, these people are right-wing nationalists, but they're certainly not the extreme worst of the worst. No, they are not the alt-right and things like that. They need you to believe they are, though. And in order to do that, they need a boogeyman. They need a villain. So you'll see articles like this. 11 million people in America think like the alt-right. White Americans, I'm sorry. Then they can convince you that Donald Trump is being supported by these people. And this is the new resurgence. Alyssa Milano tweeting, I don't recognize my country anymore. Or something like that. When only 9, she was tweeting about this Dayton rally where only 9 people showed up. They need you to believe it's that bad. To scare you because they don't have any ideas to actually compete against the nationalists. I don't know if they're truly motivated by politics. I honestly don't. I think many of them are motivated by tribe. They just want to win. But they don't like the idea of border security. They don't like the idea of national sovereignty. And I'm not saying I'm here to support those ideas. I'm saying if you disagree with them, present your arguments. Instead, they call everyone names. They go ad hominem. And then they use these hoaxes from 4chan to try and create the illusion that the threat is bigger than it really is. Let me show you what we're actually looking at. In this chart from Quartz that I've shown time and time again, we can see that conservatives, while the Republican Party has moved over, the median has moved over a little bit, just looks like 0.1, maybe like, what is that, 10%? The furthest right Republicans have actually moved closer to the center. So take it for what it is. But when you look at the left, you can see the far left has actually started taking over. They started expanding rapidly. The Democrats have shifted far to the far left. How do you stop people from being worried about a dramatic shift like this? Deflect. Deflect. So when you look at Congress, and you can see that there is a growing far left wing in the party, and it's apparent to anybody watching politics, how do you stop people from saying, hey, the actual problem here is the far left moving on the Democrat side and ousting actual Democrats, actual moderates and left-wing individuals for the far left. All you have to do is distract them with a threat of the far, far right. by allowing these hoax symbols to become more prominent than they should be. In the end, I think the Daily Dot just did this because it was bait. They knew it was bait. It's a game. A lot of people say the media took the bait, sure. But they don't care. They want to. They want me to talk about it. They want people to share it. They want the activists to drum up outrage, to share it so it gets more shares and more clicks, and it benefits and obfuscates what's actually happening. Is there a growing number of fringe far right? The answer, in my opinion, is no. It's possible there may be more people now than in the past couple of years or so, but it's certainly not 11 million people like Vox would have you believe. Only 9 people show up. The real thing that concerns me is when we look at chart after chart after chart showing the Democrats are going further and further left, and they're adopting a regressive anti-science ideology. So let me put it this way. Is the threat of violence worrisome? Absolutely. We should absolutely be concerned about any violent individuals, and we should do what we can with, we have law enforcement to stop these fringe weirdos from committing these acts, 100%. But outside of that, we have to look at the fabric of our society. What's happening to our government, and how is that going to impact our institutions? How is it going to impact our lives? Am I concerned that sometimes people commit crimes? Somewhat, but I'm not going to go and wiggle my arms in the air and claim there's 11 million people running around who are threatening our lives. That's what the activists do. But you don't have to worry about that. It is few people, few and far between, who are doing the worst of the worst. In terms of politics, we are seeing a dramatic shift in the left to adopt more radical ideology. That will change the fabric of our society and affect everyone in this country. It's not the same thing as causing direct harm to an individual, but it is going to cause harm to individuals in the long term, and it's very, very worrisome in my opinion. For the most part, I'm not super concerned about whether or not we're going to implement a new healthcare policy. I'm concerned about the regressive racist ideology perpetrated by these people. You want to talk about white Americans thinking like the alt-right? What about the regressive left, identitarian left, who holds similar views just in a different direction? It is a similar identity-based ideology that seeks to impose rules on people for things they can't change. And they're growing, and they're getting elected, and they're displacing the regular leftists, the old school leftists in this country, and they're hiding it all by claiming that these things are real threats when they are not. So I'll leave it there. Thanks for hanging out. These things get me frustrated, you can tell. I sort of get angry and angry as time goes on. But you can follow me on Minds at Timcast. Stay tuned. I'll have new videos coming up, more videos coming up on my second channel, youtube.com/TimCastNews. For those listening to the podcast, stick around. The next segment will be starting shortly, and I will see you then.